Hello, movie lovers. Today I'm excited to talk about a Thai comedy youth drama film called Ugly Duckling series. Story revolves around May Nom, an extremely shy and insecure teenager who always wears a box over her head. May Nom suffers from a unique condition that makes her hate her own face, leading her to believe she's the ugliest person alive. As a result, she hasn't looked in a mirror for over 3 years and hasn't stepped outside her house either. May Nom lives with her brother Ploan and their father Mr. Bon, both of whom are constantly worried about her. One evening, Ploan comes home with a bruised elbow and confesses to shoplifting. To avoid getting into trouble, he shifts the focus to May Nom's strange behavior. May Nom often experiences panic attacks and has trouble breathing when she's anxious. Ploan's hurtful comment wasn't her anxiety, and Mr. Bon, who has grown accustomed to her reactions over the years, helps her calm down. May Nom shares her life story through her blog, explaining how she became the ugly duckling. Surprisingly, May Nom was just like any other kid for the first 13 years of her life. She had friends, a social life, and was confident in herself. However, things changed in middle school when she fell in love with the most handsome boy in her class. Completely infatuated, she eventually confessed her feelings to him in front of everyone. To her heartbreak, he not only rejected her but also called her the ugliest girl he'd ever seen, even throwing her gift to the ground. He cruelly suggested she wear a bag over her head, calling her face a jump scare. Following his lead, her classmates also began calling her ugly. This traumatic event caused May Nom to withdraw from everyone around her and refuse to go to school. Bon tried to persuade her to return, but upon realizing the severity of her distress, he allowed her to be homeschooled. From that point on, May Nom avoided mirrors and stayed indoors completely. That is, until one day when May Nom was outside the house trying to retrieve a stuck balloon. A stranger approached and offered to help her. Startled, May Nom quickly put a paper bag over her head to hide her face. In that moment, she realized that she felt most confident when her face was covered. The position of the bag felt just right, almost as if she had found her soulmate. From that day on, she never showed her face to anyone. Over time, the bag was replaced by a sturdier box. Although her family occasionally catches glimpses of her face, May Nom prefers to stay hidden, even from them. She rarely allows herself to look in the mirror. May Nom spends most of her time anonymously talking to people on social media. She feels more comfortable online, where no one can see each other's faces. The next day, Bon visits her doctor and asks for an immediate cure for her condition. The doctor explains that May Nom isn't sick but suffers from a condition known in Japan as hikikomori. This condition primarily affects adolescents or young adults who isolate themselves from the world, staying locked in their rooms for days, months, or even years, refusing to communicate with anyone. According to the doctor, May Nom's case isn't as severe because she still communicates with her family, indicating that she has a chance to socialize with others if she is encouraged to go out. The doctor advises Bon to get his daughter out of the house before she isolates herself from her family as well. During dinner, May Nom uses a straw to eat, refusing to remove the box from her head. In a serious tone, Mr. Bon asks his children to listen carefully. Before he can explain, the siblings jump to conclusions, assuming he either has cancer or is gay. Mr. Bon dismisses both claims and reveals his true intention. He wants May Nom to start attending school with her brother, starting the next day. May Nom initially thinks he is joking and protests, as expected, but this time Mr. Bon stands firm in his decision. Even Ploan is surprised by his father's determination. May Nom declares that she hates her father and storms off to her room, crying for the next hour in fear of what will happen tomorrow. She is certain that she will be bullied for wearing the box, but still prefers that over being called ugly. To comfort her, Ploan brings her a new box to replace the old one and offers to help her decorate it. For the first time in a long while, May Nom takes off the box, revealing a face that is far from ugly. Ploan reassures her that he won't let anyone make fun of her, but this doesn't ease her anxiety. The siblings then decorate the new box together for May Nom. The following morning, Mr. Bon drives his children to school. Ploan gets out of the car and walks into the school while May Nom, feeling apprehensive but slightly comforted by her brother's support, prepares to face the new day with her new box. May Nom starts to hyperventilate under the box, but Mr. Bon plays calming music to help her and encourages her to go in. May Nom apologizes for saying hurtful things to him the previous night and thanks him for trying to help her. As soon as she leaves, Mr. Bon breaks down crying, worried for his daughter. May Nom holds her breath and finally walks into the school. The big bright box on her head immediately draws attention, and everyone starts pointing and whispering, which heightens her panic. The laughter around her echoes the humiliation she felt years ago. She gets dizzy and is about to pass out, but a guy wearing a helmet comes to her aid just in time. The guy introduces himself as Minton, and seeing his helmet makes her feel a bit more comfortable. Despite his kindness, Mei Nom becomes nervous and runs away, accidentally bumping into the school's most popular guy, Zero. He and his friends demand that she take off the box, curious about her looks. When Mei Nom refuses, they surround her and try to force it off. Minton intervenes, taking off his helmet to reveal his face. Zero and Minton glare at each other angrily and decide to settle the conflict outside the school. Minton then takes Mei Nom by the hand and leads her away. In the next scene, Mei Nom stands nervously in front of her class. The teacher, aware of her condition, asks the students to respect her privacy. However, being typical teenagers, they start to bully her, urging her to show her face. Minton, who is also in the same class, is angered by their behavior. Mei Nom quietly walks to the last seat and keeps her head down most of the time. During lunch break, Mei Nom goes to the cafeteria looking for her brother but can't find him anywhere. The students continue to stare and gossip about her. A pair of guys see her eating with the box on her head and force her to take it off. Instead of helping, everyone laughs at her being bullied. Mei Nom, unable to bear the humiliation, leaves her food unfinished and runs outside, crying. While she is alone in the playground, Minton suddenly appears beside her, still wearing his helmet. Mei Nom initially thinks he is mocking her for wearing the box, but Minton clarifies that he just likes the way he looks with the helmet. He shares his sandwich with her since she couldn't eat earlier. Mei Nom feels much more comfortable talking to him after that, and they joke around and laugh together. However, she mentions that she won't be coming to school the next day. Minton declares that he is her friend and urges her to come, even if it's only for him. After school, Minton and Zero meet as promised. They get into a verbal altercation due to their differences. Minton insults Zero for always walking around with his minions and challenges him to a one-on-one fight. Zero accepts the challenge and steps forward, asking his friends to stay back. Minton lands the first punch, but Zero fights back with an equally powerful blow. As Mei Nom is making her way home, she witnesses them wrestling. Suddenly, the police arrive, forcing the guys to separate. On his way out, Zero sees Mei Nom and pulls her along with him. They run off to a quiet area where Zero forcibly removes the box from her head. In a climactic scene, he looks at her face and is left speechless. However, Mei Nom thinks he is staring because she is ugly. The memories of her past trauma flood her mind, causing her to pass out. When Mei Nom wakes up, she finds herself in a hospital bed without her box. She immediately starts to panic and is given a face mask to calm down. Her father, deeply sorry for forcing her to go to school, blames himself for hospitalization and tells her she can stay home as she wanted. To everyone's surprise, Mei Nom declares that she wants to return to school, driven by a desire to take revenge on Zero for forcing her to take the box off. The following day, she prepares to face the new challenge head-on. Zero, alone and deep in thought about Mei Nom, is puzzled as to why she would cover her face when she is so beautiful. Just then, Mei Nom arrives and slaps him for what he did the previous day. When his friends try to intervene, Zero stops them. He attempts to remove her face mask again, but Minton intervenes, leading to another fight. Mei Nom stops them and pulls them aside. By now, news about the two handsome guys fighting over the box-head girl has spread throughout the school. Mei Nom angrily yells at them for making her life more difficult. Minton explains that he only wanted to help her, but Zero laughs, confident that Minton is attracted to her just like he is. Minton, sensing Zero's intentions, confronts him, asking if it's true. A flustered Zero denies it and calls Mei Nom ugly. This comment triggers Mei Nom's past trauma, causing her to faint again. Minton helps her while Zero stands there, feeling jealous and regretful. The next day, Mei Nom retreats into her insecurities, refusing to come out of her room or talk to anyone. Bon and Plawan discuss what they can do to help her when someone calls them from outside their house. It's Zero who has come to apologize for his mistake. Plawan refuses to let him in, accusing him of pushing Mei Nom back into a spiral of depression. The following morning, Minton comes to cheer Mei Nom up, but she refuses to let him into her room. After his repeated requests, she wears a face mask and meets him. To her surprise, he presents her with a duck-shaped box that she can use to cover her face. This thoughtful gesture brings a smile to her face and helps her feel a bit more at ease. They wear their respective headgear and joke about starting a band called Daft Punk, but instead they just eat together. Minton promises to take care of her and convinces her to return to school. The next morning, he drives her to school. When Mei Nom is alone, Zero approaches her and tries to apologize, but Plowon interrupts and sends him away. Later, during class, a girl named Ozone approaches Mei Nom and asks for a favor. A rumor about Mei Nom and Zero dating has been circulating around the school, and Ozone wants Mei Nom to ask Zero to stop bullying people. Mei Nom denies having any connection with Zero and storms away. And during lunch break, a crowd of people approaches her with similar requests, but she turns them all down. However, she is soon informed that Zero is beating up her brother. Rushing to check on him, she finds Zero's friends beating Plowon to the ground. Zero makes them stop and claims that Plowon started the fight. Furious, Mei Nom calls Zero out for being a thief who bullies weak students for money and homework. Zero looks at his minions in disbelief, as he had ordered them never to bully someone weaker than them. When Mei Nom asks Zero to stop hurting people, he challenges her to take her box off, promising to never use violence for personal gain if she does so. With no other way to help everyone, Mei Nom bravely takes the box off and reveals her face. Everyone is shocked at the sight of Mei Nom without her box. Later, she hugs Minton, crying because everyone saw her face. Minton is surprised to see her for the first time, but he focuses on calming her down. At home, Plowon shows her all the positive comments under a picture someone posted of her. But despite the positivity, Mei Nom still isn't convinced of her beauty. When she enters her room, she notices the window is open, and Zero appears asking her to be quiet. He apologizes for calling her ugly and admits that she is actually the most beautiful girl he has ever seen. After he leaves, his words keep echoing in Mei Nom's mind. She asks her internet friend to look at a picture of her on the school's page. When her friend gushes about how cute she looks, Mei Nom finally starts to believe that they might be telling the truth. For the first time in more than 3 years, she takes out a mirror and discovers that she is indeed beautiful. She almost can't believe her eyes. The following day, Mei Nom goes to school without the box. All the students stare and gossip, but this time they are admiring her beauty instead of making fun of her. Although nervous, Mei Nom is ready to start a new life with a confidence she never had before. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.